Hello my beautiful angels, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing a video that I know you guys have been dying for me to do, and I actually think it's an awesome idea because I feel like there aren't too many videos out there that really break down what beginners need and what beginners should do and all that stuff. So I'm thinking of starting this whole like beginner series, and I'll just have a bunch of videos for you guys really breaking down a bunch of little parts that make makeup a little complicated. But before we jump into the video, make sure you guys are subscribed to my channel so you can join the fam we got going on here. My socials are also down below in the description box, so you can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, and all that good stuff. So let's jump right into the video. Okay, so first and foremost, this is not in any particular order or anything like that, but everyone needs, this is a little dirty, sorry, but everybody needs a good blending sponge. Beauty blenders are absolutely amazing, but they are $20 US, which is a little steep for a sponge that your dog might chew on. But this is the Real Technique sponge, and it is $5, and it is absolutely amazing. In my opinion, it works just as well. If you guys can get your hands on a sponge that you love, it is a game changer. With this sponge, you can put on your primer, you put on your foundation, you put on your concealer, you blend out your cream contour, you can even get your setting powder and put it over your concealer and set your concealer. There are so many things that you can do with a blending sponge. I feel like it is just so necessary. You'll notice that certain things that I'm going to talk to you guys about may have multiple uses. There are certain brushes that aren't just for that. You use it for what it works for you. I'll see a brush, for example, like this brush. I saw it and I was like, wow, I like this brush. This will be really nice for like my bronzer, you know, maybe like a little dabbing in a little blush. You give the brush its purpose. I'm letting you guys know what brushes I feel like you need, but each brush, according to the density of the hairs and the size of it, is technically what you will use it for. But like, for example, this blush brush, which I'll talk about it later, you can use it for blush, but you can also use this as a powder brush. So you can get your setting powder, whatever. You choose exactly what its purpose is. You get what I'm saying? Okay, so before I go off on this whole thing rambling, let's jump into the next thing. So the next two are two that I feel like so many beginners really don't know about, but I feel like you guys, I'm gonna tell you guys so you guys can definitely know. You have your little inside scoop. You probably see so many eyeshadow brushes, like with so many different shapes, sizes. They all do serve their purpose, but then again, it's just like any other brush. Like I told you, you kind of give it its purpose in a sense, you know what I'm saying? So these two brushes, these are brushes that if you get anything for your eyes, these are the two you need. You need a fluffy brush. You absolutely need a fluffy brush. Brushes like these are amazing for blending out color into the transition shade, and you can also use it for when you actually put your color in. You can use it to make sure that everything is blended out and seamless. It is very big. You can see how much of my eyelid it takes up. So if you have really hooded eyelids, you may want a smaller fluffy brush like this one. This is a smaller, less like dispersed fluffy brush, if that makes sense. It's like less fat. This one right here is the Morphe R40, and this one is the Sigma E40. They're both really, really amazing fluffy brushes. I recommend you get yourself a fluffy brush. Now, the next blending brush that I think you absolutely need is a smaller blending brush. These are both blending brushes, it's just they have different sizes, so they kind of serve different purposes, you know? So this one is the Sigma E25. A good dupe for that one is the Morphe 433. They both have the same size and everything. I believe these two are also good dupes for like Max blending brush. But anyways, this blending brush is perfect for the outer part right here of the crease, the outer part of the lid, and really just having a more precise blend. You can then go after with your fluffy brush after you've blended out with this brush and just make sure that everything is blended out really nicely and just dispersed, looks like, you know, like it's not too harsh. The next makeup tool I think all beginners need is a lash curler. I never use lash curlers. I was always kind of like, what's the purpose? Like, I wear falsies anyways, and like, I don't know, when I put mascara, it's gonna look like the same shit. But no, you especially need a lash curler as a beginner, because I've noticed that a lot of beginners don't like wearing falsies, and I totally understand, because falsies can be uncomfortable if you're not used to them. But lash curlers, you want to be careful when you use it, because it can pinch your eyelid and it'll make your eyes really watery. But this is perfect for really lifting up the lashes, and then you go in with your favorite mascara and give it that extra volume and darken it and all that stuff. But when you use the lash curler, make sure you don't squeeze tight and hold. You don't want to do that, because then it's going to leave like a really big dent on your eyelash. You're going to want to use the eyelash curler, put it at the base of your lashes, and give it 1, 2, 3, 4 soft pumps. And then, you know, you do it like that as you go building up the volume. You don't want to like squeeze it really hard and hold it, because then it's going to leave like a really harsh dent, and you don't want that. The next brush that you need is a packing brush. This brush is really flat. I don't know if you guys can tell from there, but this is the MAC 242, and this is by far my favorite. There are several packing brushes. You can check Morphe, Sigma, Luxie, there's Smith Cosmetics. Like, there's so many line of brushes, and even ColourPop I think has really affordable ones, and Wet n Wild, check those out. But this is by far my absolute favorite, and this is just so perfect for packing on eyeshadow on the lid. And since it's so like densely packed, it just really holds on to it. Even when I spray setting spray on it to foil the eyeshadow, like, it doesn't dissolve into the bristles or anything. It's just amazing, and it gets right in there on the eyelid. So this is another eye brush that I think you definitely need. If I had to choose between blending brushes and this one, I would definitely choose the blending brushes. I think those are ones you need more than this one, but this is a good one to have in your arsenal for packing on color on the lid. If you don't want to get this one because it's too pricey, but you want to get a nice fluffy brush, then you can always pack your eyeshadow with your finger. I do that sometimes too, but honestly, it deposits the color like really nicely too. This is my favorite all over face brush, powder brush. A powder brush is something that I believe is very necessary, because it is great for setting the face. You grab setting powder and you just go ahead and set the face. And this is my absolute favorite. This is from Too Faced. This is the Mr. Right Perfect Powder Brush. I love it. I think it just distributes the powder so evenly, beautifully. It's just enough density, but it's not too dense that it's like harsh. It's honestly just perfect. And if you're a person that likes your face matte, I definitely recommend having a powder brush. If you like your face more dewy, and honestly the only thing you set in your face is your under eyes, then do you really need a powder brush? Not really, but I do think it is good to have. A blush brush is super necessary if you like using blush. You want to pay attention to the way the brush's bristles are, because that's how you'll know how it distributes the color. And you don't want blush that you get some and it leaves like a really harsh pink deposit of color. You want it to distribute it very softly, very like, you know, like just a very diffused wash of pink, just to make your cheeks look, you know, a little rosy. And this is the Real Techniques blush brush. It is absolutely amazing. It is so soft and it just distributes color so well. But this, like the powder brush, if you do not use blush, then you don't really need it. But if you do, this is an amazing brush. This brush can also be used as a powder brush. Just the way it is, like, I feel like it just distributes color so beautifully. But I personally love this one for blush. Everybody needs a spoolie. I can't stress enough how important a spoolie is. You need it to brush through them brows so that you can shape them and just mold them, tame them, whatever. This one has an angled brush on the opposite side, so I feel like this is an amazing 2-for-1. That this is from Anastasia Beverly Hills, so if you can afford this and get your hands on it, I recommend this brush. I will link all the brushes down below and in the order that I've been presenting them. So if you are confused as to where to get it, or if you missed what I said or anything like that, don't worry, just check down below. I'm gonna have them all there. But a spoolie, even if it doesn't have anything on the other end, this, you need it, because you can fill in your brows with anything. You can use an eyebrow pencil, a pomade, and there's eyebrow crayons, which I don't like, but there's people that use them. You can even use just the brow mascara or whatever, but you need a spoolie. A spoolie is just so nice for really shaping your eyebrows, brushing the product through so that it doesn't look too harsh, because you always want your brows to keep that natural fade. You guys know what I'm talking about? You know how your brows are like a little more faded right here than they are down here? And I feel like the spoolie really helps to just tame the hairs and brush the product through so it distributes evenly. There are so many brushes that you can use for contouring, and like I said earlier, if you like cream contouring, you can use your sponge. So it's totally your personal preference as to what type of contour you want. I know a lot of people like the NARS Ita brush, which is like a more harsh contour. It's like a brush that has like a really like flat top, so it's like a really nice harsh contour. I personally like a more dispersed contour, and I feel like if you are a beginner, it is best to start off doing your contour like kind of just blown out and not something like too harsh, because then it may look like unnatural and not very cute. These two brushes I absolutely love for contouring. They are both Eco Tools. This is a fan brush, and I know for beginners this can be a little confusing, because you guys will be like, wait, isn't that for highlighting? Yes, but like I said, you give the brush its purpose. I like this one more for contouring rather than highlighting. I just feel like it's very big. Look how big that is. It takes up most of my face. For highlighting, that would just like cover all of this in highlight, and I don't want that. I use a much smaller brush for highlighting, if you guys can tell like the difference, you know. But for contouring, I love this one because it just fits right there under the cheekbone, and it gives a really nice dispersed highlight. These actually came together as a contour highlight duo, but I was like using them both for contouring. This one is just a really nice domed brush. It's very like tapered at the tip, so it kind of is fluffy and then gets like a little bit smaller here at the top. And this is perfect. You just kind of fit it right there under the cheekbones, and you just kind of just circle it up and kind of give it a nice shape. You can even right here bring up your contour. Just give it a nice little combo. You can even use this brush for bronzing also. Totally up to you. Highlighting. Highlighting. I feel like in YouTube we talk so much about highlighting. Everyone wants a pop and highlight. Now for highlighting, it's the same thing. You give the brush its purpose. I sometimes like to use a brush like this for highlighting, for a more concentrated highlight. But like I said, I don't want to recommend brushes to you guys that are a little complicated to use, or they might be too harsh or anything like that, because you don't want your look to be harsh. You want everything to look blended out, smooth and gorgeous. So for highlighting, I recommend a really nice small fan brush. This is absolutely my favorite. This is the Morphe 310. I have also used this for highlighting. It's like basically looks like a giant blending brush, and it's just really nice. But that's also another one that gives more of a precise highlight, so we want this one. You want to search for a really nice, cute, small fan brush made with natural bristles. It'll just look so like nice and diffused, and it just doesn't, it's not too big, so it doesn't like disperse it all over your face. It keeps it right in the areas where you want to highlight. And this picks up the product so well. If you can, get your hands on the Morphe 310. I wish I had a code to give you guys. Soon I'm gonna get y'all that Morphe code so y'all can save that money. But there are a lot of other influencers that do have Morphe codes, so if you want to support them, go ahead, use their code. But this Morphe 310 is just a bomb highlighting brush. Okay, so now these two that I'm gonna mention are just some extras I'm throwing in there. These are not like super necessary. I know I've mentioned out of some of the 10 that I've told you guys, I've told you, you know, this isn't necessary if you don't use this isn't necessary if you don't use that. But these two really are optional. I would always recommend to get them. I feel like if you're really into makeup, it's like an artist, right? Like each brush has its purpose. You give it its purpose. You like the way it works for some things and others. And you know, you go and you maneuver the situation on your face. But these two are just super optional because you can use, I have a hair. You can use some of the brushes I mentioned earlier for what you can also use these for. Does that make sense? Okay. Well, if it doesn't make a lot of sense, I'll explain it to you now. So a small tapered brush is a brush that you use for setting the under eye. You see how it fits perfectly under the eye. You set the under eye, set around the nose, the chin, right there. You know what I'm saying? This is the Real Techniques contour brush. You see? I use it because for setting the under eyes. It is a small tapered brush. It is perfect for the under eyes. Oh, I don't have it here with me. But e.l.f., make sure you find this at your local drugstore. e.l.f. has a really, really good small tapered brush that also fits beautifully under the eye. It is like $2-3. It is super cheap. But it also does an amazing, amazing job for fitting right there under the eye. Now, the reason why this one is just necessary is because, like I mentioned earlier, you can use the same brush that you use for foundation and concealer. You can dip it in your powder and just boop, boop, press it under the eye, and that you set your under eye. So, do you really need a small tapered brush? I don't know. You decide, whatever you feel more comfortable using. Now, the next one is a brush for bronzing. Like I said earlier, the brushes I recommended for contouring, one of them is perfect for bronzing, so you can use that either or, like you can switch it back and forth. But I personally like a really nice, dense, but still fluffy brush for bronzing. This is another brush that I like to use for bronzing. It is a little bit bigger. It's like a really large powder brush, but it is great, great for bronzing. It is a little dense, but still fluffy at the same time. This one's just more dome shaped. This one just kind of has a little round thing going on. But they're both amazing, amazing brushes for bronzing. They're just perfect for just giving a nice overall bronzy situation. This is the Morphe M551. This one is just as good. You just want to go with a little bit of a lighter hand with this one, since it is just a little more densely packed. So what did I tell you earlier about densely packed brushes? Did I tell you earlier? Well, in case I didn't, a brush that is more densely packed deposits a lot of color immediately, right? So if I have a, like, I don't know, bronzer on this, and I just like, it's gonna deposit a lot immediately. So I have to go very, very lightly and blend it out. Versus a really fluffy brush, it kind of disperses the color softly, if that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. This brush is from Eco Tools, and it is a blending and bronzing brush. So like I said, with this one, you want to be just a little bit more careful. It's amazing for bronzing, and I still recommend it for beginners, and it is super affordable. But you just want to go, like, when you dip your brush into the bronzer, give it a little tap so it could release the excess, and then just blend away. So yeah, we are done. We went through all of the tools. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope this video was helpful to you, and I hope I explained it. I didn't go really deep into the brushes, but I told you what you need, what they're good for, and I hope that was pretty helpful to you. I really enjoyed doing this video. I like teaching you guys. It's fun. I like teaching. I want to do a video that goes more in depth into brushes and their purpose and things like that, versus just brushes every beginner needs. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, if you guys have not subscribed to my channel, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys in my next video. Mwah. Bye.